I can see what people are really thinking. Not in a mind-reading way. It's more like I see their thoughts pop up in a transparent little text box over their heads, like a subtitle for their soul. This ability turned me into the most cold-blooded landlord in Queens. Until I met Mia. She owed me $30,000. To pay me back, she became the kind of streamer who would do just about anything for a donation, but behind the scenes, she was just a puppy at my feet. She transferred every grimy dollar to my account, let me take whatever I wanted, all for a place to stay. I thought I had her pinned, that her entire life was under my thumb. Until the day I saw the thought floating above her head. If I can save up enough, maybe I should just give him my first time. I mean, he's actually kind of handsome. I froze. Cole, I'm here. Mia stood in my doorway, head bowed, her voice barely a whisper. She just finished her stream. Her makeup was a mess, eyeliner smudged by sweat and tears, making her look like a drowned kitten. A cheap satin slip clung to a body that was almost unfairly perfect, and the air filled with a cloying mix of sweet perfume and the faint, clean scent of her body wash. This was our routine. After every stream, she had to come straight to me and hand over the night's haul, down to the last cent. I didn't say anything. I just leaned against the doorframe, my face a blank mask. Above her head, a text box flickered frantically. Why isn't he saying anything? Is he mad I didn't make enough tonight? What do I do? That whale tonight was so cheap, he dropped a couple of the most expensive gift icons and then just ghosted. Is he going to kick me out? My brother's surgery. We can't wait any longer. That's right. I see it all. This ability is showing me just how fake and ugly people are on the inside. It also made me the most ruthless landlord and loan shark she'd ever meet. Get in, I said, stepping aside. Mia let out a breath she'd been holding, like she'd just been pardoned, and scurried past me into the apartment. I shut the door, leaving the room lit by a single dim floor lamp. The money, I said, sinking into the couch and lighting a cigarette. She pulled out her phone, her fingers tapping expertly. A second later, my own phone buzzed. Venmo notification. You received $475 from Mia Evans. I glanced at the amount and said nothing, just took a long drag from my cigarette and exhaled slowly. Through the smoke, Mia's face was a pale, nervous blur. Her thoughts kept scrolling. Only $475. He's definitely not happy. Should I be more proactive? The articles all say guys like it when you... The next thing I knew, she was kneeling in front of me. Her small hands gripped the leg of my jeans as she tilted her face up to mine, her makeup designed for that perfect mix of innocence and seduction. Cole, she began, her voice a practiced, trembling plea tonight. Tonight was my fault. I wasn't on my game. Please don't be mad. Her eyes were red-rimmed, looking like she was about to burst into tears. It was all an act. I knew it. Just another trick she'd learned from some TikTok relationship guru who taught women how to manipulate men. I had to admit, though, it was effective. Any normal guy would see this damsel in distress routine and his heart would melt. Too bad for her. I'm not a normal guy. I could see the script running in her head. No reaction? Did this move not work? I shouldn't have taken off my makeup. That tear-stained look was perfect. The whale even sent me 2 virtual jets for it. Is he really going to throw me out? Or would I sleep tonight? What a little liar. I crushed my cigarette in the ashtray, then reached out and clamped my fingers around her delicate chin. Her whole body went rigid. Her pupils dilated with fear. What is he doing? Is he going to hit me? Oh my God, I'm so scared. Seeing that genuine terror flicker above her head, the annoyance I felt just melted away, replaced by a sick kind of satisfaction. I like this. Seeing her terrified of me, but still having no choice but to depend on me. Mia, I leaned in close, my lips almost brushing her ear, and spoke in a voice only she could hear. Next time you bring me this little, you can find somewhere else to live. I let that sink in. I know your brother is waiting for money for his surgery, but that's not my problem. My only problem is when I'm getting my $30,000 back. My words hit her like a bucket of ice water. The color drained from her face, and she started to tremble. He knows. Of course he knows everything. He's a monster. But who else can I turn to? I let go of her chin and leaned back into the couch, my cold mask back in place. Get out, and do better tomorrow. Like a puppet with its strings cut, Mia stumbled to her feet and shuffled toward the door. But just as her hand touched the knob, A new line of text drifted above her head. One I never would have expected. If I can save up enough, maybe I should just give him my first time. I mean, he's actually kind of handsome. My hand, halfway to lighting another cigarette, stopped in midair. My name is Cole Miller. I'm a professional landlord. More accurately, I'm a professional subletter. I leased an entire floor of a pre-war walk-up in Queens, carved it up into a dozen shoebox-sized rooms, and rented them out to young people with big dreams and empty pockets. When you pack people in like that, you see a lot of ugly things. And my superpower let me see the ugliest parts of them all. Like the gym bro who posted workout selfies on Instagram all day but secretly tried on lingerie at night. Or the quiet girl with glasses who was juggling 3 different top donors from 3 different streaming sites. Or the heavy-set woman from 3B who was constantly trying to figure out how to siphon electricity from her neighbor. After a while, you just go numb. Your heart turns to stone. I had a system for dealing with my tenants. I'd sweet-talk the easy ones and intimidate the difficult ones. Bottom line, nobody was ever late on rent. Until Mia showed up. She was the prettiest of all my tenants, and the most tragic. She signed a year-long lease, paid first, last, and security, but less than 2 months in, she couldn't make rent. She came to me that day, sobbing, begging for an extension, telling me there was a family emergency. I looked at the text above her head. Please, God, please let him give me a few more days. The doctor said we can't wait any longer. We need another $30,000 for a chance at the surgery. Where am I going to get that much money? I didn't feel a thing. I'd heard stories like this a million times. I was about to give her the standard eviction speech when her thoughts changed. If there's no other way, maybe I could try streaming. I heard you can make money fast that way. It's humiliating, but for my brother, I'll do anything. Streaming, an idea sparked in my mind. It coiled around my heart like a poisonous vine. I looked at this girl, her face streaked with tears, but her eyes still holding a stubborn fire, and a demonic plan began to form. I don't have to kick you out, I said. In fact, I can lend you the $30,000. Mia's head snapped up, her eyes shining with a sudden, desperate hope. Really? He'd lend me the money. He's such a good person. I laughed. Good person? Not even close. But there's a condition, I said slowly. From now on, you're going to be a streamer. And every dollar you make, it all comes to me, until the $30,000 is paid off. The light in her eyes died. What? What does he mean by that? How is that any different from a pimp? But I don't have any other choice. I watched the drama unfold above her head, savoring it like a fine wine. In the end, the will to survive, the love for her family, it crushed her pride. She bit her lip and nodded. Okay, I'll do it. From that day on, Mia became my bird in a gilded cage. I taught her how to flirt with the camera, how to act cute, how to beg for virtual gifts. She was a fast learner, or rather, she forced herself to be a fast learner for the money. Her channel blew up. She was beautiful, and she had no shame. A legion of lonely, greasy men drooled over her from behind their screens, throwing digital cash at her. Her popularity soared. They even gave her a nickname, the sweetheart of Twitch, and every cent she earned became another cold, hard number in my bank account. She lived in my building, surviving on instant ramen and using drugstore makeup, while handing over thousands of dollars in donations to me. I knew she hated me. Her thoughts were a constant stream of curses. Cole is a vampire. He's a monster. Human garbage. The second I pay this off, I swear I'm going to kill him. I didn't care. In fact, I enjoyed it. This was humanity, wasn't it? People would sell anything for money. Their dignity, their bodies, their souls. I thought I'd just keep watching her with cold detachment until the debt was clear, and then I'd toss her out like a piece of trash. But that one thought about giving me her first time, it was like a stone dropped into the dead, silent lake of my heart, sending ripples out in every direction. What in the world was this woman thinking? The next day, I woke up early. On some strange impulse, instead of doing my usual rounds to hassle tenants for rent, I drove to the best farmer's market in the area. I came back with bags full of fresh ingredients. As I passed Mia's room, the door was cracked open. I could hear her on the phone, her voice hushed. Yeah, Mikey, I'm working on the money, don't worry. You're going to get the surgery. Me? I'm great. My boss is really nice, and my coworkers are all so supportive. Don't overthink things, just focus on getting better. As soon as I make enough, we'll go home. The thoughts above her head told a completely different story. $30,000. It's like a mountain sitting on my chest. I don't know when that monster coal will ever be satisfied. I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. Something sharp and unfamiliar pricked at my heart. I didn't disturb her. I went back to my own apartment, put on an apron, and started cooking. By the time I had a pot of chicken soup simmering on the stove, it was already noon. I knocked on her door. Mia answered. She was wearing a faded old t-shirt. Her hair was a mess, and her eyes were puffy. She'd clearly been crying again. The second she saw me, her face shifted into that familiar, timid mask. See, Cole, what does he want now? Is he still mad about last night? Is he going to give me a higher quota? I ignored her internal monologue and just held out the thermos. Here. Mia stared at it, then at me, her expression utterly baffled. Chicken soup. He brought me chicken soup. This has to be a trick. A wolf checking on the lamb. What are you staring at? I said, my patience wearing thin. Just take it. She snapped out of her daze and fumbled to take the thermos. It was still warm in her hands, and she held it like it was a live grenade. Cole, you're skinny as a rail. It's bad for business, I grumbled, improvising an excuse. Finish it and leave the thermos outside my door. I turned and walked away before she could ask any more questions. Back in my apartment, I sat on the couch, but I couldn't settle down. What the hell was wrong with me? I was the guy who hated fake sentimentality. I was her creditor. She was my revenue stream. That was it. Making her chicken soup? Cole, you're losing your mind. I ran a hand through my hair, frustrated, and pulled out my phone to check my accounts. Just then, a commotion erupted from next door. You little tramp. You're trying to steal my husband, a woman's shrill voice screamed. It was followed by the sound of something smashing and Mia's terrified cry. My gut clenched. I bolted out of my apartment. A few other tenants were already gathered outside Mia's open door, rubbernecking. Inside, the heavy-set woman from 3B, Brenda, had Mia by the hair and was slapping her back and forth across the face. Mia was too stunned to fight back, and her cheek was already red and swollen. On the floor, the thermos I'd given her was overturned. Chicken soup puddled on the cheap linoleum. You little home-wrecking slut, strutting your stuff online all day, and now you're coming after my man. Brenda shrieked with every slap. Her husband, a greasy-looking middle-aged man, stood by helplessly. Honey, you've got it all wrong. I just felt sorry for her. I brought her some fruit. That's all. I glanced at the text box over his head. Shit, how did she find me here? I knew I shouldn't have sent that damn. This girl's skin is so smooth, though. Totally worth it. A white-hot rage shot through me. Stop. I roared, shoving my way into the room and pushing Brenda away from Mia. The woman stumbled back, and when she saw it was me, her bluster evaporated. And Mr. Miller, you're just in time. Look at your tenant. A young girl like this, already a mistress, trying to steal another woman's husband. I ignored her and turned to Mia. She was huddled in the corner, her hair a wild mess, half her face swelling up, a trickle of blood at the corner of her mouth. She looked wrecked. When she saw me, tears instantly welled in her eyes, but she bit her lip, refusing to make a sound. A single thought flashed above her head. He's here. The fire in my chest burned hotter. I turned back to Brenda and her pathetic husband, my voice ice cold. Pack your things. I want you out of my building by the end of the day. What? Why? Brenda screeched, her anger returning. Mr. Miller, you can't be serious. That little tramp seduced my husband. You want to talk reason? I sneered, my gaze shifting to her whimpering husband. You, give me your phone. The man flinched, instinctively hiding his phone behind his back. Can't let him see it. The chat history's still there. Why does this guy look so terrifying? I didn't have time for this. I strode forward and snatched the phone out of his hand. It took me 2 seconds to unlock it and pull up his DMs with Mia. It was a stream of disgusting, harassing messages. Hey, beautiful, lonely in that little room all by yourself. Let big bro keep you company. That black dress you wore on stream was insane. When are you going to wear it just for me? Name your price. I've got plenty of cash. Mia's response to every single one was the same automated reply. Thank you for your support. I threw the phone at Brenda's face. See for yourself. Your husband is the pig who's been harassing my tenant. Now, take your man and get the hell out. Now. My tone left no room for argument. Brenda stared at the messages, her face turning from red to white. Her husband looked like he was about to collapse. It's over, it's all over. How did he know I didn't delete the chat? Is he a mind reader? The gawking tenants started whispering, pointing at the couple. Humiliated, Brenda shot one last, hateful glare at Mia, grabbed her husband, and scurried away. The drama was over. I told everyone else to clear out, leaving just me and Mia in the trash room. She was still curled up in the corner, her face buried in her arms, her shoulders shaking. She looked like a wounded animal. The whole place reeked of spilled soup. I looked at her, and for the first time, I felt an emotion I couldn't quite name. Was it guilt? If I hadn't forced her to stream, she never would have been targeted by scum like that. I walked over and crouched in front of her. Does your face hurt? I asked. She didn't look up, just shook her head. It hurts. It's burning. My heart hurts more. Why? Why does this keep happening to me? Why did he help me? Doesn't he hate me? The thoughts scrolling above her head were like tiny needles in my conscience. I reached out, wanted to touch her cheek, but stopped myself. Get up. The floor's cold. I stood. Go wash your face. I'm taking you to a clinic. Mia finally looked up. Her big, bright eyes were swimming in tears, a mixture of shock, confusion, and gratitude. He's taking me to a clinic. Is he worried about me? No, that's impossible. He's just afraid a busted face will hurt his income. That has to be it. Having found a reason she could accept, she struggled to her feet. It's okay, Cole, she said, her head down, reverting to her usual meek posture. It's just a scratch. It's fine. It won't affect the stream. That sentence hit me like a punch to the gut. So that's really all she thought of me. A monster who only cared about money. Well, she wasn't wrong. I was. A wave of frustration washed over me. I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I turned to leave. But as I did, a new thought bubble appeared above her head. It was small, faint, and colored a soft pink. But the way he stood in front of me back there, it was actually kind of hot. I took Mia to an urgent care clinic. She couldn't win the argument against me, or maybe she just didn't dare to try. The car ride was silent, the awkward tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. She kept her head down, fidgeting with the hem of her shirt like a kid who'd been scolded. I kept stealing glances at her, and at the colorful text boxes that kept popping up. He's acting so weird today. Why is he being so nice to me? This car is amazing. Even the seats are soft. What brand of cigarettes does he smoke? It actually smells kind of good. I noticed that the thoughts calling me a monster and human garbage had started to disappear. In their place were the random, jumbled daydreams of a young woman. The doctor said it was just some bruising and gave her a topical cream. By the time we left, it was dark. I drove her to a small diner known for its soup. Eat something, I said, handing her a menu. She took it like it was radioactive, her eyes darting straight to the prices in the corner. $12 for a bowl of soup? That's robbery. I should just go home and have ramen. But I'm so hungry. I couldn't watch anymore. I snatched the menu back. 1 tomato soup, 1 chicken noodle, and a basket of garlic bread, I told the waitress. Mia tugged nervously at my sleeve. Cole, I'm not hungry. So expensive. This must be over $30. Why is he buying me dinner? Is he going to add this to my debt? Seeing her torn between the cost and the fear of owing me more was, to my surprise, a little funny. Relax. This one's on me, I said flatly. Consider it. Workers' comp. Workers' comp. Mia blinked, then she got it. A faint blush spread across her cheeks as she looked down. Workers' comp. He's actually kind of witty. The soup came quickly. She ate in small, slow sips, as if savoring every last drop. I watched her face, flush from the steam, her lips still slightly swollen, and the frustration I'd been feeling all day began to fade. Maybe sitting down for a quiet meal with someone wasn't so bad after all. After dinner, I drove her home. Downstairs, I handed her the bag with the cream. Don't forget to use this. Okay, she said, clutching in her hand. She kept her head down. Cole, she whispered today. Thank you. It was the first time she'd ever thanked me with real sincerity, without any of the usual fear or ingratiation. I could see in her thoughts. I'm really grateful to him for today. He might be a monster, but maybe he's not all bad. He got rid of that horrible woman. He took me to the doctor, he even bought me that expensive soup. What's wrong with me? I think I'm starting to not hate him anymore. My heart skipped a beat. Go on up, I said, turning my head away. I was afraid if I kept looking at her, the wall of ice around my heart might actually crack. Mia murmured an okay and ran up the stairs. I stood there for a long time, watching her disappear into the building. Back in my apartment, I lit a cigarette, agitated. My phone buzzed. It was a text from my bank. A transfer of $30,000 had been made from one of my accounts. Earlier that afternoon, I'd anonymously wired it to the hospital where Mia's brother was staying. I looked at the text and gave a short, bitter laugh. Way to go, Cole. Playing the saint now? I took a hard drag, trying to numb myself with nicotine. But I couldn't get the image of Mia's tear-filled eyes or that little pink thought bubble out of my head. The way he stood in front of me, it was actually kind of hot. Damn it. This woman was poison. After that day, the atmosphere between Mia and me changed. She was still afraid of me, but now it was mixed with something else. She still transferred her earnings to me every night, but she wasn't a trembling wreck anymore. Sometimes, she'd even dare to sneak a glance at me before quickly looking away, her cheeks turning pink. Her thought bubbles became a kaleidoscope, shifting from curses and fear to other things. That white shirt he's wearing today is so clean. He looks like a college kid. His hands are really nice. The fingers are so long and straight. Has he lost weight? His jawline looks sharper. I hope he liked the takeout I secretly ordered for him yesterday. He seemed to eat all of it. I'd watch these chaotic, girlish thoughts scroll by, half amused and half annoyed. This idiot. I was the monster who was exploiting her. How could she possibly? I refused to finish the thought. I started avoiding her. When she came to pay, I told her to just Venmo me and leave whatever else at the door. I stopped monitoring her performance. I stopped hitting her with cold, hard words. I thought if I just created some distance, we could go back to being a simple creditor and debtor. I overestimated myself, and I underestimated her. One night, I had to deal with a tenant raising hell and got back late exhausted. I opened my door and was hit with the aroma of home-cooked food. I stopped in my tracks. On my dining table were 3 dishes and a soup, still steaming. Mia, wearing an apron, was placing the last dish on the table. Seeing me, she nervously wiped her hands on her apron. Cole, you're back. I made some dinner. I don't know if you'll like it. I stood there in the entryway, speechless. Why is he so late? The food's getting cold. Is he going to eat it? Or will he just think I'm being nosy? This is the first time I've ever cooked for a guy. I'm so nervous. Who let you in? I demanded, forcing my voice to stay cold. She flinched. I have a spare key. I just thought you might not have eaten. And who gave you the nerve to come into my apartment without permission? My voice was even colder now. I hated people in my space. It was a hard line. The color drained from Mia's face. Her eyes instantly welled up. He's mad. He's really mad. I messed up. I'm such an idiot. I just saw how tired he's been lately. I only wanted to make him a meal. I'm sorry. Fat tears rolled down her cheeks and splashed onto the table. She just stood there, helpless, like a criminal awaiting her sentence. Looking at her, the anger I was trying to hold on to just fizzled out, replaced by a profound sense of exhaustion. What was I even doing? Yelling at a girl whose only crime was wanting to cook me dinner? I sighed, took off my jacket, and sat down at the table. Next time, knock first. Mia stared at me, dumbfounded. He's not mad anymore. He's going to eat. I picked up my fork and took a bite. It was a simple home-cooked meal, a little too much salt, but for some reason, it tasted better than any 5-star dinner I'd ever had. What are you waiting for? I glanced at her. Sit down. Eat. Huh? Oh. She came to her senses, quickly took off the apron, and sat down across from me. She picked up her own fork, but didn't dare take any food, just poked at the rice in her bowl. Does he like my cooking? What if he thinks it's terrible? Oh my God, my heart is beating so fast. I looked at the joyful thoughts dancing above her head, then at her, so nervous she was about to bury her face in her bowl, and the corner of my mouth twitched into a smile. This fool. After dinner, I smoked on the couch while she washed dishes in the kitchen. Listening to the sound of running water, I had a strange, surreal feeling. This felt like a home, and we were like a normal couple. The thought startled me. I shook my head, trying to banish the ridiculous idea. Just then, Mia came out of the kitchen with a plate of sliced fruit. Cole, have some fruit. She placed it on the coffee table in front of me, but this time, she didn't leave right away. She sat down on the armchair nearby, her hands clasped in her lap, looking like she had something to say. I watched her, waiting. After a long moment, she finally worked up the courage. "Cole," she began, her voice small. That whale from my stream, he wants to meet me tomorrow." She paused. He said he can pay off my entire debt." The air in the room turned to ice. My hand, holding the cigarette, froze. The whale? I immediately thought of the user ID, the real Rick, who had been responsible for nearly half her income lately. Virtual sports cars, diamond jets. He threw them around like they were nothing. I'd always assumed he was just another lonely guy with too much money. I never thought he'd try to take it offline. And I looked at her, my voice neutral. "You want to go?" My stare made her uncomfortable. She looked away. I don't know, but her thoughts were much more honest. "Rick said if I go with him, he'll give me the 30 grand tomorrow. 30,000. I could finally be free. My brother's surgery would be covered. But why am I even telling Cole about this? Am I hoping he'll ask me to stay? Don't be stupid, Mia. Once the debt is paid, you can finally get away from this monster. This is a good thing. Then, why does my heart hurt so much?" Her internal struggle was a tangled mess, laid bare for me to see. So, in her mind, I wasn't just a monster anymore. That realization made my heart stop. "It's a good opportunity," I said, crushing out my cigarette. My voice was calm, detached. "Meet him. Have dinner. You keep him happy, and your debt is cleared. You'll be free to leave this place, go live the life you want." I said it all so casually, like I was discussing a business deal. Mia's head snapped up. She stared at me, her eyes wide with disbelief, and then they filled with tears. He's actually telling me to go. In his eyes, am I just some product he can sell off at any time? What am I to him? "Cole, you bastard." The text above her head was now a glaring, blood red, every word an indictment of my cruelty. My heart felt like it was being squeezed in a vice. It hurt so much I could barely breathe. Why did I say that? I didn't want her to go. I wanted to keep her here with me. But what right did I have? I was just her creditor, a piece of scum who got off on controlling her. She had a better option. I was supposed to let her go. "I understand," Mia said. She stood up, her face pale, but her voice was eerily calm. A calm that broke my heart. She gave me one last, deep look. It was full of disappointment, finality, and a sadness I couldn't decipher. Then she turned and walked out of my apartment. The door clicked shut, sealing us off from each other. I collapsed onto the couch, feeling like all the strength had been drained from my body. I picked up my phone and went to Mia's Twitch profile. The avatar for the real Rick was a balding, middle-aged man with a thick gold chain, his face slick with oil. I clicked on his profile, scrolling through his posts flaunting his wealth, and my eyes grew colder and colder. The next day, Mia dressed up. She wore a new white dress and delicate makeup. She looked like a princess on her way to a date. She didn't say goodbye when she left, but I knew where she was going. I sat in my apartment, chain smoking, the ashtray quickly overflowing. I kept refreshing my phone, a knot of anxiety tightening in my stomach. I even tried using my ability, tuning into the thoughts of the other tenants, trying to distract myself. "Rent's due today. Damn it, I'm broke again. The girl next door is so hot. Gotta figure out a way to get with her. My boss is such an idiot. All he does is make empty promises." These dirty, petty, negative thoughts used to be my only entertainment. Now they just felt tedious. My mind was completely filled with Mia. Where was she? What was she doing? What was that Rick guy going to do to her? Time crawled by. I felt like I was going to lose my mind. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my car keys and bolted out the door. Screw it. I couldn't let her go. I couldn't let anyone else have her. I called Mia's phone. No answer. My stomach dropped. I scrolled back through her DMs and found the name of the place. A restaurant called the Summit Grill. I floored it, racing through the city. The restaurant was on the top floor of the fanciest skyscraper downtown. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, a host tried to stop me. "Sir, I'm sorry. Do you have a reservation?" I shoved past him. The dining room was vast, and I spotted her immediately at a table by the window. Across from her sat a bloated man with a gold chain thicker than my thumb, leering at her over a glass of red wine. It was him, Rick. Mia looked terrified, sitting ramrod straight, her hands clenched in her lap. Her steak was untouched. "This wine tastes awful. He keeps staring at me. His eyes are so gross. I want to go home. That bastard Cole. He really just pushed me out the door. Seeing her thoughts, the knot in my stomach loosened slightly. I wasn't too late. Rick was leaning in, his greasy hand creeping across the table toward hers. Mia, baby, don't you worry. You stick with me. 30 grand is nothing. I've got a penthouse downtown. We can move you in tomorrow. Mia snatched her hand back like she'd been burned. Rick, thank you, but what? His expression darkened. What? You think my offer isn't good enough? Or you think I'm not good enough for you? His thoughts turned ugly. Stuck-up bitch, playing hard to get. On stream, you're all flirty. And in person, you act like a damn virgin. I don't care. I'm having you tonight. The filth I saw floating above his head made the ice in my veins freeze solid. I strode toward their table. Excuse me. Mind if I interrupt? I came to a stop right beside Mia, resting a hand on her shoulder. She flinched, then looked up. When she saw me, her eyes went wide with disbelief, followed by a wave of relief so powerful it was almost tangible. Cole, how did he get here? Is he here for me? Rick was clearly thrown off. Who the hell are you? He demanded, sizing me up. I'm her boyfriend, I said, looking him dead in the eye. The word stunned not just Rick, but Mia too. She just stared at me, her mouth hanging open, the text above her head exploding. Boyfriend? He said he's my boyfriend? Am I dreaming? OMG, 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 OMG. Rick's face grew even uglier. Boyfriend? Mia, you told me you were single. I didn't wait for Mia to answer. I pulled her to her feet. My girlfriend is young and naive, easily fooled by the empty promises of an old man like you. As for her debt, I pulled a debit card from my pocket and slapped it on the table. I'll pay it. There's 30 grand on that. PIN is 8-8-8-8-8-8-8. From now on, you stay away from her. If I ever hear you've so much as contacted her again, I will personally teach you the meaning of the word regret. My voice was low, but every word was sharp as a shard of glass. Rick was intimidated. He looked at the card, then at me, his face a mottled red and white. His thoughts were still running. Shit, who is this guy, trying to steal my girl? But he looks like he means business. Forget it. She's not worth the trouble. Finally, he just grunted and pocketed the card. Fine, you win. I didn't give him another glance. I just took Mia's hand and walked out. We didn't speak until we were back in my car. Mia was still in a daze, staring at me as if she'd never seen me before. See, Cole, What? I started the engine, not daring to meet her eyes. You said you were my boyfriend? She asked, her voice filled with a fragile hope. He was so hot back there, like a knight in shining armor. Is he really my boyfriend now? Or was that just an act to save me? I don't care. Even if it was fake, I'm so happy. The pink thought bubbles were making me dizzy. It was an act, I said, my voice rough. How else was I supposed to get that creep to back off? Oh, the light in her voice dimmed. Of course it was fake. I knew it. Cole, you big idiot. My heart clenched. I nearly slammed on the brakes. But I cleared my throat, staring straight ahead at the road. If you wanted to be real, I said, trying to sound casual, I guess I wouldn't be against the idea. The car fell silent. The only sound were my own heart hammering against my ribs and the frantic scrolling of Mia's thoughts. Is he asking me out? I'm not dreaming, am I? Somebody pinch me. Should I say yes? What do I say? I'm so nervous. My palms are sweating. I watched the pink cloud above her head practically vibrate with excitement, and I could feel my own face getting hot. I'd spent my whole life conning people, threatening people, manipulating people. I never asked a girl out. This was more terrifying than chasing down rent from a deadbeat. If you don't want to, just forget I said anything, I mumbled when she didn't answer. I do. She practically screamed it. After her outburst, she realized how loud she'd been, and her face turned a shade of crimson I'd never seen before. She ducked her head, twisting the hem of her dress in her hands, and repeated, much more quietly this time, I do. The boulder that had been sitting on my chest for days finally rolled away. A wave of pure joy washed over me, so intense it felt like drowning. I couldn't help it. I started to laugh. So this is what it felt like to like someone, and to be liked back. I pulled the car over, turned to my seat, and looked at her properly. Mia, I said, her name feeling new on my tongue. About everything before. I'm sorry. I know I was a bastard. I used you, I exploited you, I treated you like an ATM. I. Before I could finish, she reached out and gently pressed a finger to my lips. Don't, she said, shaking her head, her eyes shining. I get it. I know you're not a bad person. You're just incredibly lonely. You made me chicken soup. You protected me from those horrible people. You secretly paid for my brother's surgery. Cole, you're such a terrible liar. I froze. How did you know? She grinned, a sly cat-like smile. One of the nurses told me, she said. She said an anonymous Mr. Miller paid the $30,000 bill. And as far as I know, you're the only Miller in our building. I was speechless. She knew. She knew it all. She knew I was just a jerk with a soft spot he tried to hide. She knew that beneath the cold, hard shell, my heart wasn't made of stone. So, technically, I owe you that $30,000 now, she said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Mr. Landlord, how should I ever pay you back? She leaned in closer. Maybe. I could pay you back with me? The text above her head was now a cascade of falling hearts. You got him. From now on, he's mine. Cole, I love you. I looked at her, and I couldn't hold back another second. I leaned in and kissed her. Her lips were soft and sweet and trembled slightly against mine. At first, she was shy, but slowly, she started to kiss me back. It was a long kiss, one that felt like it stretched for an eternity. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathless. Her face was flushed, her eyes glistening. I pulled her into my arms, resting my chin on top of her head. Mia, you're done streaming. Forever. Okay. And your debt is cleared. Huh. She looked up at me, confused. From now on, I said, gently tapping her nose, I'm taking care of you. Mia and I got married. The wedding was small and perfect, just her family and a few of my friends. Her brother's surgery was a complete success. He was already walking again. At the ceremony, the pale, skinny kid I remembered was a handsome young man in a tailored suit. With tears in his eyes, he placed his sister's hand in mine. Cole, he choked out, my sister. She's been through a lot. You have to be good to her. I nodded solemnly. I will. I promise. During our vows, I looked at Mia in her white dress, and she looked at me, our eyes shining. The text above her head was the most beautiful thing I'd ever read. I do. I want to spend the rest of my life with him, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. Cole, I love you. My ability was no longer a curse that showed me the darkness in people's hearts. It was a gift that let me witness their purest joy. It was a Saturday, and we were curled up on the couch watching a movie. My head was on her shoulder as I ate the chips she fed me. The movie was boring. I tilted my head up to look at her. She was already looking down at me, her expression soft and loving. Above her head, a pink text box was gently pulsing. This is so nice. Everything is so nice. I hope we could just be like this forever. Simple and happy. He's being extra clingy today. It's so cute. I want to kiss him. A second later, her lips met mine, tasting of sunlight and popcorn. I closed my eyes and kissed her back. Maybe the greatest superpower in the world isn't seeing into people's minds. Maybe it's just love. Love gives you the courage to face the darkness. And for me, love was the light that led me out of the abyss. I looked at my wife, and I felt like I finally had the whole world.